What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. Now, this video is another one in our series of what resources and what advice do I have for specific courses that you'll take in medical school. And for today's video, it's microbiology. A fun course, I thought a really exciting course, and a course that I just finished. So I am happy about it, and it was fun. So let me just start off by apologizing for my cat there who has his back to you. Very rude. But let's get down to it. Number one thing, what's the number? Hopefully, if you're watching these videos, you're going to get sick and tired of me saying this, so you'll remember it. Number one thing you're going to reference is the lecture notes, the core notes, the PowerPoints, whatever the professor has, because that's what your school is going to test you on, and you got to do well on your school exams. No way around that. But you got to learn micro. It's a very important course. So if you have good lectures, you'll learn from that. But you do need to read because the lecture notes, during second year, path, micro, and farm, these are not things you can just sit and lecture and figure out. If you can, congratulations. But to me, I needed to go home. I needed to sit. I needed to read. I needed to think. I had to kind of build it in my head. It was too much information at once to just pick up like this. So the textbook to read. You can get a formal microbiology textbook by McGraw-Hill Publishing called Microbiology and Immunology. But I didn't like that book. I got a book that was very different, and it was recommended to me by a lot of upperclassmen. I even saw it a lot online. And it's called Clinical Microbiology Made Ridiculously Simple. Now, two things. First and foremost, what is this nonsense here? This is not normal binding. It's not. You're right. So when you have a book that's fairly thick and really nice paper, by the way, if you like papers, good quality paper they put in this book. So this is called, I think, spiral binding. So I took my book. It's like a normal bind. And I took it to Kinko's, and I had them cut it, and they put this spiral thing in. Because then what you can do is you can do it like this and read. So if you're reading the book all the time, and if it's a big book like this, I learned this from some of my classmates that you can do this in it, and it really makes your life a lot simpler. It's little things like this that make your day just a little bit easier. So why did I get this book? Why did I just use the typical book? The typical book was kind of boring. I actually bought it. I didn't like it all that much. So that's why I'm not going to show the book, just to not disrespect the publisher or the authors. But if you want the formal book, I'm sure that's going to be the book your school is going to recommend. But a lot of my classmates and almost all of the upperclassmen said, get this book. And I thought, why? So I'm like looking at the book. This is a series, the Made Ridiculously Simple. It's like a book series. If you've been noticing other ones like BRS High Yield, this is not a high yield book. It's pretty big, right? It's a textbook you can read, but it's a weird textbook. So let's see why. Let me just pick something that's kind of fun looking. So it's written in a language first and foremost that's very casual. And that's kind of the key point, that it's designed to help you understand the content. Oh, that's a weird one. Let's not pick that. And there's a lot of kind of childish drawings, okay? So first and foremost, it's written by a lot of MDs and PhDs, so it's good text, and the content's critical. So it's written in a lot of text, and a lot of like childish pictures like this. You see, what is this? This is Figure 21. Oh, Gus, antibodies, boring. But anyways, it's a lot of like childish drawings to help you remember things. And you actually will. Actually, there was one here for rhinovirus and corona. I wonder if it's here. Okay, it's here on the back, but it's in the book as well. So here you see a little rhino, and he's holding NyQuil, and he's holding a Corona beer. Why? What are the two most common viruses that cause the common cold? Rhinovirus and coronavirus. The other day, I thought about this in the car, out of nowhere, and I'm like, wow, this is actually working. So there's a lot of picture. Oh, this was a chicken pox with like the dew on the red leaf. It was silly. And at the end of every chapter, they have these tables that just gives you high yield critical. So I actually put little tabs in all of these. So when I'm going through and going to the final, like bam, high yield tables. No need to read all the words and all the little crazy salmonella, come on, salmon, and cholera vibrio with a little C there. What's this one here? Didn't like that one. But the point being, it's written in a very casual fashion. It's like someone talking to you, kind of like these videos. But it's actually written in a way that's very easy to read. The pictures are really good. Somehow you remember them. I don't know how, but these stupid little drawings are all throughout the book. I remember them, and each of these little tabs takes you to a, you gotta put the tabs in yourself, obviously, these high yield tables that when it comes time to review, you just hit these tables that has all the critical info. You don't need to read the chapter again because you already did it once and you kind of figured it out, and now you just need to make sure you're memorizing all the key points. The reason why I stuck with this was 3 reasons. One, it was written in a very easy to read way. It made reading this thing very quick. When I finished reading it, I thought, wow, I read this whole book. I didn't even feel like I read a book. It was actually pretty chill. Second, the drawings actually really help, and the casual nature takes out the stress. The formal book for my class that I started off reading at the beginning of the year, it didn't have these little like tables for every chapter to help you review. These are money, man. I like these tables, and it wasn't written in this kind of no textbook in medical school is written in casual fashion, but just this made ridiculously simple one is. So that was my textbook that I used to learn micro. It's goofy, it's weird, it's written by doctors, but it gets the job done, and I liked it. And that's the point, that find a big textbook like this to read that you can stick with. Many of my classmates liked the school recommended text by McGraw-Hill called Medical Microbiology and Immunology, and they stuck with it, and that's fine. But many more people liked this book. It was easy to read, it was fun, it was very memorable. There is a lot to remember in micro, and if you can have fun doing it, you'll remember it better. So that was my big hardcore book that I read, my textbook in addition to my lecture notes. But then you got to have a review book, right? So those tables are seriously my review book. But I couldn't help myself. I bought this book during first year when I wanted a review book for immuno. So it's micro and immuno, so I thought, hey, I might as well use it. I didn't like it all that much, let's be honest, because these tables are so money. So when I'm like reviewing, I'm probably going to be hitting the tables, not so much these. But it's here. It's not bad. I don't like it all that much because it's just like a vomiting of information. It's very bullet pointy, and I didn't like it all that much. So, in my opinion, BRS is okay. I happen to have it because I thought the immuno section was great that I bought last year. But I would highly recommend the Made Ridiculously Simple for micro. And if you're in the mood, for some reason, I don't know why I did. I think I got so used to that kind of childish fun nature of that book that when it got back down to serious business, I didn't like it. But it's actually fine. But if you're used to the BRS, some people stick by BRS for every topic and they love it. For me, it was okay. But it's up to you if you want to use it or not. I bought it in Immuno, so I had it around the house. But again, I have to give it 2 thumbs up. The Clinical Microbiology Made Ridiculously Simple. Great book. If you have textbooks that you use religiously, get them spiral bound. It's like $5 or $10, but it makes your life so much easier. Like I said, it's the little things like this that magically make your life go a little better. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. That's what I did for micro. Micro is important. You gotta know your bugs. You gotta know your viruses. You gotta know your parasites. And what's the fun thing? It's so clinically relevant. It's insane. This is like the first taste of medicine. And when you learn pharm, you learn how to kill these bugs and the parasites and the viruses, or deal with them at least. And it's so much fun. So enjoy the class. It's gonna be fruitful to learn. Put in the hours. And if you can get a book that makes you happy when you read it like that, it's that much easier to remember the content. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Send me a message, whatever you like, I'll find it. And as always, enjoy your studies.